Hello and welcome to Freewave TV. I'm Paige Friedman, bringing you the latest in maritime news from around the world. Today in maritime news, the UK comes up with a new strategy to redefine the maritime industry. Concern for the shipping industry arises as water levels in the Rhine River continue to drop. Liner shipping looks to defend itself over low taxation rates. Port of Felixstowe strike to disrupt hundreds of millions of dollars worth of trade. Workers at Liverpool port will go on strike. The government of Brazil looks to change things up at one of its ports. Scotland to turn another cruise ship into temporary housing for refugees. The UK has unveiled a new strategy that will significantly impact the maritime industry. The new security strategy will be designed to respond to risks that arise that threaten the future of the industry. It redefines maritime security as upholding laws, regulations, and norms in order to deliver a free, fair, and open maritime domain, and it also recognizes illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing and environmental damage to the country's seas as a maritime security concern. According to the UK government, the 5-year new strategy will enhance maritime capabilities in technology, innovation, and cybersecurity, and also reduce environmental damage, which will help the country establish itself as a global leader in the maritime industry. In Germany, water levels in the Rhine River, particularly in the middle and lower regions, are nearing critically low levels. As a result, the movement of important commercial barges, intercity transport, sightseeing, and cruise ships could be impacted. On Monday, water levels at one of the lowest points in the river, near the town of Cobb, hit 30 centimeters, which authorities say could lead to a standstill in river traffic. Already, some vessels have been unable to sail in the river. Meanwhile, others have been able to sail, but with lighter loads. Many are concerned about how shipping will be impacted if the water levels continue to fall. Liner shipping is under scrutiny after reports indicate that the taxes they'll be paying compared to the profits they have earned in the second quarter are low. Shipping company Hapag-Lloyd will pay $20.8 million in taxes for the billions it earned, which puts it at an effective tax rate of 0.5%. Meanwhile, Maersk's tax rate stands at 1.8%. Despite the heated arguments, liners have been looking to defend themselves. John Butler, the president and CEO of the World Shipping Council, argued that the profitable years, carrier tax levels in percentage terms will be comparatively low, while in years of low margins or loss they'll be comparatively high, since taxes are mainly paid regardless of profit levels. With workers at the Port of Felixstowe ready to strike on August 21st and continue on until August 28th, analysts expect that hundreds of millions of dollars worth of goods would be disrupted. August Russell Group used its Alps Marine analysis to determine that the value of goods that would be impacted by the strike would be $800 million. As the strike looms ahead, smaller ports in the UK might benefit from the strikes, as cargo ships could instead be going to them. Following Felixstowe's lead, workers at the Port of Liverpool have voted to go on strike over more pay and better working conditions. Over 500 dock workers voted to go strike after rejecting a 7% pay increase offer by MDHC Container Services. According to Unite Union, which represents the workers, the offer was inadequate and is significantly lower than the current real inflation rate. At the moment, there is no set date for when the strike will begin at one of the UK's largest container ports. In Brazil, the government is looking to privatize the port of São Sebastião. Currently, it is a federal port. However, it is managed by Companhia Docas de São Sebastião. Besides aiming for privatization, the government is also looking at an investment project of around $200 million to construct 2 berths and a new rail line. In other news, Scotland announced it has chartered a second cruise ship as temporary housing accommodations for Ukrainian refugees. The government will convert the cruise ship, the Ambition, to accommodate up to 1,750 refugees. The ship will be located in Glasgow beginning in September, and it is currently unknown how long the charter will last. The decision to charter a second ship comes after positive feedback from people on board the first ship the country chartered, the MS Victoria I, as well as the need for more housing. And now, here's the news making headlines around the world. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said on Tuesday that there is no need to use nuclear weapons against Ukraine. He added that the media speculation of Russia using nuclear or chemical weapons was complete lies. Shoigu also alleged that Ukrainian military operations were being planned by the US and Britain, adding that NATO had increased its troop deployment in Eastern and Central Europe several times over. The defense minister finalized his position when he referenced the New START treaty, saying that talks to extend the treaty were a two-way street and that the situation around it was difficult. Ukraine is inching toward taking responsibility for the explosions that occurred in the Russian-annexed Crimea. According to Russia, the explosions destroyed an ammunition store at a Russian military base in the north of the peninsula, delaying trains and requiring the evacuation of 2,000 people from a neighboring town. The recent explosions from today and last week mark Ukraine's new capability to strike deeper into Russian territory, or that pro-Kyiv rebels are successful in guerrilla-style warfare. As the tables begin to turn today, yesterday a Russian-backed separatist court in eastern Ukraine's Donetsk found 5 foreign nationals that were captured while defending Ukraine guilty of being mercenaries. 3 of the 5 who were captured in and around the port city of Mariupol faced a potential death penalty. All 5 of the accused pleaded not guilty to the charges. TASS reported that the trial judge said court would resume in early October. Tensions continue to mount in Taiwan as the independent island accused China of over-exaggerating on Tuesday. A video released on Monday by the Chinese military affiliate, the People's Liberation Army's Eastern Theater Command, showed a major Taiwanese airbase strategically located on the Penghu Islands. According to a map provided by Taiwan's Defense Ministry on Monday, tracking Chinese activity, the closest Chinese aircraft to Penghu on that day were 4 J-16 fighters. Taiwan Air Force Vice Chief of Staff for Operations Tong Pei-lun told reporters in Taipei that this was Chinese information warfare and had no comment on who filmed and published the video. In an effort to avoid further conflict with China, the U.S. military claimed that it had delayed testing a Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missile during China's show of force near Taiwan earlier this month to avoid escalating tensions between the two countries. The test had also been delayed in April to avoid rustling any Russian feathers. According to a U.S. military statement, yesterday's test showed the readiness of U.S. nuclear forces and provides confidence in the lethality and effectiveness of the nation's nuclear deterrent. As the U.S. strategically maintains its position defending Taiwan, a top U.S. military commander said China's decision to fire missiles over Taiwan must be contested, saying if action is not taken, it will become the Chinese norm, calling it a gorilla in the room. As countries fight for independence, Kenyan citizens can't tell who is telling the truth, as opposition leader Raila Odinga has rejected the results of Kenya's presidential election, saying that the figures announced on Monday were null and void. The results claim that it was a tight election, but Deputy President William Ruto won. Odinga accused the head of the electoral body of a blatant disregard of the Constitution. This will likely stir the pot among civilians as they feared a rigged system. Over in the UK, Prime Minister candidate Liz Truss and her opponent Rishi Sunak are expected to squash Scotland's quest for independence on Tuesday by encouraging it to remain part of the UK and intimidating the Scottish government by promising more scrutiny. The Scottish National Party, which heads Scotland's semi-independent government, wants to hold a second independence vote next year, which could cause major waves that could rip apart the world's 5th biggest economy. In other news, Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese claimed his predecessor, Scott Morrison, had undermined our democracy by secretly appointing himself Minister for Home Affairs and Treasury during the COVID-19 pandemic, in addition to the health, finance, and resources portfolios during his time as Prime Minister. Albanese criticized the Morrison administration for allowing the Prime Minister to consolidate authority. A Solicitor General will provide Albanese with legal advisors on the matter. As things on a global scale continue to be out of place, human remains were found in a suitcase purchased at an auction from a storage facility in New Zealand. The discovery was made after the residents returned the property to their home in South Auckland. Police authorities have launched a homicide investigation and are trying to identify the remains. The family is believed to have not participated in the incident. Over on the border of Turkey and Greece, on an unnamed island, a group of 38 migrants, including a heavily pregnant woman, have been found. The group consisted of 22 men, 9 women, and 7 children, who say they had been on the Evros River islet since mid-July. The group was taken to mainland Greece after they were found. Although one child died on the island, the country's migration minister said that the group was in very good condition, and the pregnant woman had been taken to a hospital as a precaution. A dose of good news came following heavy rain in Africa, as Ivory Coast farmers claimed that the coast's cocoa regions could pave the way for an early and strong start to the October to March main crop if the weather remains favorable next month, playing a significant role in the size of the main crop. Farmers in all different regions said the cocoa pods were nicely developing on trees. We're now going to take over Jean-Louis, who's going to share what's going on in the sports world.
What's up, guys? It's Jean-Louis, as always, of Freewave TV. And from the States to across the pond, here are your sports stories from across the globe. We start off in tennis, where the first round of the Cincinnati Open is officially underway. Yesterday saw the results already play out for the round of 64, as the heavily favored British star Andy Murray advances in the tourney against Swiss Stan Wawrinka. Murray advances to the round of 32, where he would face the 9th-ranked Cameron Norrie, who also advanced last night against Denmark's Holger Rune. Today sees the number 1 ranked Daniil Medvedev taking on Batic van de Zandschulp from the Netherlands, the game that takes place tonight at 8:15 Eastern Time. Ditto for the women's division, where last year's U.S. champ Emma Raducanu looks to try her luck against soon-to-be retired Serena Williams at 7. Williams, of course, announced her retirement plans last week, eyeing the U.S. Open as potentially her swan song. The day starts off with notable games on tap, including Japan's Naomi Osaka taking on Zhang Shuai at 11 a.m. In soccer, the Champions League qualifiers continue tonight, as the football day on tap sees 3 games in action, such as Bodo Glimt taking on Dinamo Zagreb, FC Copenhagen taking on Trabzonspor, and the Rangers taking on PFZ and Hosen, each taking place at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Off the field, transfer news is still running rampant in the soccer leagues. A name still floating in the ethers of free agency is one Cristiano Ronaldo, who, despite rumors of transferring over otherwise, is looking to stay with Manchester United. In the 2022 season, the forward made 18 goals in 30 matches. Ahead of November's World Cup, Ukrainian Denis Sadorikino spoke to BBC on the country's decision to push through and compete in the Ukrainian leagues amid their national crisis. Sadorikino charted out the ripple effects of Russia's invasion of the country this past February, with released weaponry damaging their training grounds, leading to them ultimately canceling their season. Ultimately, the star spoke on the trials and tribulations of the country, as well as their perseverance to ultimately resume the country's season. For more on that, stay tuned to Freewave. In cricket, the one-day international series is back underway. This time, it's the Netherlands taking on Pakistan. At the time of recording, the Netherlands have possession, needing 308 runs to win from 48 overs. Later on, we have the hundreds tourney taking place between Manchester and Welsh. The women will compete first in their matchup at 10 a.m. Eastern, with the men being the main event at 12:30. The scheduled United Arab Emirates United States ICC World Cup matchup, originally scheduled for 9 a.m., was abandoned. In golf, we have some tough news for the BMW Championship. British Open champ and #1 ranked star in the world, Cameron Smith, was ruled out with a hip injury and will miss the series. The 28-year-old cited tightness in his hip being apparent for months, calling it off ahead of the Atlanta-hosted event. The tourney will take place between August 25th through the 28th. Speaking of golf, a big story, of course, this summer has been the rise of the LIV. Of course, the Saudi-funded league has drawn many criticisms due to ties with the polarizing country. Switching gears to boxing, British heavyweight champ Anthony Joshua, ahead of his world title matchup against Alexander Usyk, stated in regards to his matchup taking place in Jeddah, he's there simply for boxing, akin to many golfers stating otherwise. The heavyweight bout is scheduled for this Saturday, where before a capacity crowd in Saudi Arabia, Joshua looks to regain the crown from the reigning unified champ. In the States, baseball is back in the news as Padres shortstop Fernando Tatis Jr. has been suspended for PED usage. His father spoke to a Dominican talk show in regards to the situation, lamenting the fact that his son had reportedly been using the drug in response to an untreated ringworm that had been neglected by his team's training staff. Of course, the 23-year-old will serve an 80-game penalty for his transgressions, joining a long list of stars with that distinction. In the NBA, we have some released dates coming out. With a confirmed full slate coming within the week, we have some confirmed games on tap for Christmas Day. The list of games include Eastern Conference champs, the Boston Celtics, hosting Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks, Embiid taking on the New York Knicks, reigning MVP Nikola Jokic taking on the Suns, Luka and the Mavs taking on the LeBron-led Lakers, and of course the rematch of the Western Conference semifinals, the Grizzlies taking on the Golden State Warriors. Stay tuned for the full slate soon to come. And lastly, we turn to the WNBA, where the playoffs are nearing its start date. As dust settles on the year, tomorrow begins the journey for the WNBA champs. Starting at 8, the Chicago Sky host the New York Liberty. And the main event, of course, is going to be the Las Vegas Aces taking on Phoenix Mercury at 10. The league-leading Aces are favored to win it all, of course, with All-Star Game MVP Kelsey Plum favored to win Finals MVP. Will it all come to pass? We shall soon see. But till then, that's all I got for you guys today. As always, I'm Jean-Louis. Stay locked and loaded to Freeway for all of our socials, updates, and insight and more. Till then, happy Tuesday.
That's all we have for today. For more detailed news, you can visit our website, www.freewavetv.com. On behalf of all of us here at Freewave TV, thanks for watching, and we'll see you at our next newscast.